Hello friendos, it's me, Wolfer. I'm going to go over this video of Purpz to kind of go over I'm basically going to analyze his gameplay and show some of the things that I believe it would be things that he did poorly, things that he did correctly, and kind of like explain the thought process that I would have when approaching. So, first off, before the game even begins, we want to have an idea of what we're going to do. We see it's tower control camp trigger right off the bat, so we already know that what weapon we want to use. We should already be thinking in our mind. Now, knowing Purpz, he's probably going to stick with his standard 10 attack. But once we decide on our weapon, we should be considering how are we going to approach this map. We could go straight center and skip through the bridge. We can go hard left and try to watch for flanks. We can go to the right and be the flanker, or whatever. It's up to us as a player or as a team to decide on where do we want to position each player. And then from that point forward, it's based on how well the individual player plays at that juncture. So let's kind of skip ahead to where we actually start doing things. Okay, so he decides his gear here. Let's see what he decides on. Like, this isn't too big of a deal because most of your decision, he's sticking with defense. Most of your decision making happens in game. So right here, like, okay, we start the game. We're not gonna pause and just go frame by frame. Okay, he's still in spawn. He's gonna keep going forward. Like, there's no point. Because the thing is that you don't really need to make a decision here, other than to decide where do you plan on going. Okay, so here he's already decided I'm not gonna go in this direction because if he chose to go in this direction, he'd be closer to these guys. But so he's probably gonna go up here. So we can see that he does exactly that. He goes forward. He throws the bomb. This is good. It zones people out of here. Might catch someone, might not. It's not a bad thing. He doesn't lose out on a whole lot. Now, he will be out of ink a bit, so he needs to keep that in mind. But other than that, he's pretty much good to go. So here he's just camping nearby, seeing if he can't get someone for free. His bomb created this huge opening for him, so he doesn't really have to stress about anyone popping out too crazy right now because people were trying to avoid getting blown up. So that's the purpose of that bomb. So now he's got a lot of control here. That's really good. He's going to help his teammate. Awesome. Good stuff. Okay, right here he got bombed. This is kind of unfortunate because now he's in a really bad spot because he got burst bombed like that. Because now someone can hop in and see how much damage he's taking. He can die really quick. So he should be focusing on trying to get some heals. Turns out okay because no one went after him. So he's just chilling. He's chilling. Okay, he tried to get the sniper, didn't work. So he just now sees this tri-slosher just kind of pops in out of nowhere. Really good coverage there. This I thought was strange, personally. This is just me though. Just because if you go a few frames back before he paints that, let's just back a little bit. See, he's in enemy ink. You can see that, right? So we go forward a bit. See that? He dies right before his slosh lands. So I guess the game didn't count it. You see? Because in reality he should have died here. Or he was just slightly out of its hitbox on his screen or something. But anyway, that's just extra. I don't think he should have survived that, but it happens sometimes. Okay, here he sees there's someone there. I saw briefly what looked to be a 52 gal. Let's see if we can get that frame of him shooting. See, this is kind of cool. This neat little frame by frame deal. Yeah, unfortunately we don't get a really good vision on that. I'm not sure what the hell that is. Anyway, whatever. Okay, now I'm pretty confident that's a 52 gal. So it looks like a wall could be used here. This would be really bad of Purpz to try to attack this head on, honestly. Mostly because if it's a wall situation, he can get walled out. Because this box here, if he places a wall here, he can cut him off entirely and watch this entire section. So he would be in a bad spot. Let's see, kind of see how it plays out. Alright, so he pulls back. It's not a 52, I'm wrong, it's a splatter shot. They probably don't even have a 52. Anyway, it's a splatter shot. And here we see that he gets special, so that's something to look out for. So he's going for it anyway. Alright, so see, he's using the special. This is actually very common if someone gets special. This is just something out of experience. I understand that most players, once they get special, they will use it immediately. There is no brakes on the special train. I think most players, when they get it, they will use it right away, which isn't always a good idea. And this is a good example why. Because if Purpz recognized that situation before when that flash came on screen, he could have just rushed this guy down and caught him in the middle of trying to aim that ink strike, and he'd be dead. And he could just take over this entire section, this entire area, which would put their team on the back foot, just by him having control of this area. So let's see what he does. Alright, so here, suddenly, boom bam, here's his homie. His homie hops in with stealth jump, I guess, and so here he is. So now Purpz is in a bad spot. He can't dodge to the right because the bullets are coming from the right. So that would not be a good idea, because just knowing how the mechanics work, he'll get hit by this. So his best option is to squeeze towards this wall here to try to get as much defense as possible and try to kill this guy. Upon killing this guy, he will then free movement to watch out for the guy that's behind here. And he has a little bit of protection here. So he has a couple decisions at this moment. He can choose to fight this guy and kind of start to hug towards this wall. Or he can just ignore him, make a paint here, and just swim over and try to kill this guy. And try to make them come at him at the same angle. So he has a few decisions there. And we'll see that he dodges appropriately, so here he has a chance to aim. Okay, so he locks in, that's good. But he's jumping here. He's jumping, losing a lot of accuracy, which is very unfortunate. So I'm just gonna scoot back just a bit. Whatever. So here we go. Point out, when you're fighting, it's very important to recognize jumping that can mess up your RNG. You never really want to jump unless they're right in front of you. Now this is pretty close, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean right underneath you, sploosh-o-matic range, you know? This is not sploosh-o-matic range. Alright, so he dodges here, he ducks under. This is a good technique. You always want to be holding down if you're not firing. And even when you're firing, try to get into the habit of that and try to move around with that, because you can get really cheeky stuff by ducking into the ink you just painted and dodging bullets. It can really throw people off because they don't expect you to be able to do that, but you can. You move forward a bit or whatever. Boop boop boop. Alright, here he goes. See if when does he jump? Immediately, here was his mistake. See, his bullets aren't even locked on him anymore. And this is going to happen a lot because you can't just instantly adjust your aim. We're not robots. So he immediately jumps, which is bad. He should have just took a second to let himself aim. Just 1 second or so. Because that's more than enough time for his bullets to actually hit. Because you see, look, he's already locked onto this guy. So if he was standing, he'd be dead, before his bullets can even trace to him. But he jumped, so his bullet spread is nuts. Look at this. Now his bullet's going over here. You get one going all the way over here, not hitting this target. You see that? Two very crazy spread. Like, just, you don't need that in your life, my dudes. So, and then he jumps. So he jumps. So now they're both missing. They're both missing. At this point, at this juncture, they both jumped. He's on his way down, though. Purpz should actually just continue firing at this guy. At this moment, he should actually continue firing at this guy. But as we know, he ends up dropping down here or whatever. Because for him to lose this trade is bad luck or whatever. It can happen, I'm not going to lie. But even if he's concerned about that, he can duck in the ink for just a brief moment to mess up his aim again and just recenter himself to, say, like, here. And he can get a really nice, easy kill on this guy because, see, he's already painted his escape route, so he would just be extra screwed. And then he can use the paint from that to give himself a bit mobility to deal with this guy over here. Keep in mind, this is still zoning out the other guy who was in this location. They're both using the same weapon. He had one shot left, and now, unfortunately, because he dropped down here, this was the worst thing that he could have done, because now that bomb exploded. This guy was just waiting for that so he could paint over this, and also was watching this area as well. So he wanted to stay up here as much as possible. This isn't exactly the worst decision because, like I said, it is an option that he could have taken, but I think it's not very good because there's room to move. Even if he had this entire area painted, he doesn't have a whole lot of room to move. So it's just not really the best idea. Here, at least he has a bit more of an arc to get around. So I know that's kind of a lot, but believe me, that's why this game is so nutty. If you want to do well, you need to be able to consider those options, or at least know which one is your best bet for survival, at the very least. And then we can get into like more crazy specific stuff. Okay, that was good. He escaped and got out of there. He really should have died, but he didn't. Yeah, I expected him to die there. He was disrupted. Once that happens, it's just not much you can really do. He kind of made the bad decision of just going up there anyway, without them being in his kill range. He just was really gunning it. And there was nothing to, like, he had nothing really supporting him. He didn't have a ton of ink to help him out, nothing. So that approach was just bad. Like, that's a good example of something that you could just tell yourself, I should probably not approach when there's a ton of enemy ink on the ground, you know? Alright, so we're just going to go up here, I guess, and he's going to look to defend the flank, which is fine because they're setting up a push up there. That's cool. Alright, so he's watching this area. It's fine. It's fine. He's kind of spraying everywhere, which is still fine because, again, he can catch someone, and if he gets just a little moment, he can actually kill someone really fast. Like, see here, he has an opportunity. He's missing. He gives up on it, which is fine because he needs to focus on this tower that's moving. Here it is. It's sitting there. Oh, and then, oh, we got an enemy here, so he's got to deal with this guy. He's looking in the wrong area. Whenever you have to make a decision. I think he was kind of confused mentally on which target he wanted to focus, because he knew that both were important, but he didn't know which one he wanted to focus on, and that's a problem because you do kind of have to commit on which one you want to focus on. You got to focus on one thing, handle that, and then move to the next. Because if you're going to focus the tower and go all in on it. If you're going to focus possible enemies, focus on them. Just like here, he should know that like the tower was moving. He skipped the tower, and they ignored him, surprisingly, and they just kept going and going. So he should have known that there were people here. To counter this, all he had to do was be able to, after he pushed the other guy away, he's now pincered. So he has to pick an option, whether to kill this guy or kill the other guy behind him. So at this point, he kind of has no choice. His best option is to kill this guy. So he should have been prepared to paint this area. Anytime you see a ton of paint like this is just good signs that there's an opponent in the area, so you need to clear it out as best you can. But he wasn't quite ready. So see, he's already firing at him, and he's not even looking at him. So now he's already like in the back or whatever. So he had like no fighting chance there, which kind of sucks. All because he wasn't aiming in this area like this. He didn't have this camera set before he fought. And that happens sometimes, but that's why you gotta think ahead a little bit, and it's really tough because like it happens so quick. But these are things that people need to think about when you're playing. So there you go. So here he sees there's a tri-slosher. He can beat a tri-slosher straight up. Like, look at all this room. He can just go over here and shoot in this angle, giving him a hard time. Keep in mind, he doesn't have, at this juncture, Purpz can see that he doesn't have any paint on the wall for his team. So meaning, if he needs to go back here to climb up, he can't. Not very fast, and Purpz should be able to kill him. So all he has to do is just make sure that he doesn't escape through here, and just pressure him back. So let's see what he does. Okay, he starts to, and then I mess up. Okay, and he succeeds. Okay, cool. He watches that area successfully, and he gets the kill. All right, so he sees the things going. All right, cool. He gets the wipe. So at this point, his team should all recognize this wipe. This never should honestly be a call out, in my opinion. I think the reason that it is a call out is because a bunch of people suck. But rudeness aside, I think like this is something that people should all be able to recognize in their head and know. Okay, we need to cover these key areas. One of them is this ramp in this front area. The other one's back here. Someone needs to be running back here to cover that area as best as possible, because this area back here is how they're going to recover and stop the tower, and here he wants to cover this area so that again the tower can keep pushing. So Splatoon is a crazy fast game, so people need to take advantage of these situations quickly. There is no pausing to paint all of this. I mean, you can if you want. It's a slow push. You can do that, but you're going to give them time to come back. That's why they painted all this. If you ignore it and then you set up like in the last second or so, then it can be very difficult to come back, because keep in mind, if you kill them, you can always come back and paint the stuff while they're respawning and then come back. Anyway, so here they go. I thought I saw a Zuka. I hope I didn't see a Zuka. I'm gonna just pretend I didn't. So Purpz is back here. He's painting, covering this. Okay, so he sees an enemy here. He can quite easily kill this person. He doesn't have much room, not as much as Purpz. They're zoning each other out with bombs. That's pretty smart. Alright, so he's got DJ here with the custom range. So this should tell Purpz that he doesn't actually have to engage this person. Just slow him down. Just the fact that DJ's here and knowing DJ's weapon, he should be able to tell himself, okay, DJ has a lot of range. He can probably pick these people off. All he has to do is just limit their movement options. So by painting this area, he can also work towards his Zuka. So if he wanted, he could use his Zuka as well to clear him out. But let's see how he plays this one out. Alright, so he's painting. He's doing exactly that. He gets his Zuka, pops it, get one. There's one over here. And that one's dead. And then he hops up here. Okay. He's zoning him out. That's good. That's good. He's still here. Alright. He catches this guy. Really solid, because his team's pushing up here with a bubble. I'm pretty sure that wasn't like intentional. That just kind of happened. Because a lot of teams say it just happens because it's basically solo queue advance, in my opinion. But this guy, he comes around here, so he watches this area, making it impossible for them to eye down here, which is a very good angle for people. So that was really smart. His teammates watching this, which is also a good area to be. So that's really good. So now they've got these really strong areas handled, and you see they're at a distinct advantage and they can keep pushing. So what he should do is stay up here and paint this area. The reason he wants to paint and target this area and have his teammate Hitzel here should be by this cushion. And the reason that is because Hitzel can watch this area pretty easily, and he can slow down anybody who comes through here. And that should give them a bunch of free points. And now, worst case scenario, another thing that Purpz could do is go back to the other side and then paint back here as well, making it really difficult for them to stop this area, and Hitzel can kind of cut them off if they ever try to come up here. He could also just shark up here if he wants, to basically allow this tower to keep pushing for free, because the pressure is on yellow team right now to come and pressure them. These guys should not be being super aggro. Right now they kind of can because they have the number advantage, but it is something to kind of keep in mind. So here he's kind of going really ham. This is completely unnecessary. Even if he gets the kill, it's kind of like, you don't need to do that. You're gonna take a chance that you die and that they can recover. That's what they want. They want you to die and make dumb decisions so that they can come back. The smarter you play, the harder it is for them to actually get to you and stuff like that. Alright, so here he goes. He gets one, gets two. Alright, that's really good, really solid, good risk, paid off. He's in this cushion, he's in this area. This is a very strong spot. Going to be difficult for them to kill him. They'll have to go through here. So if he just holds this, alright, so he jumps into heavy fire. He goes from this protected cushion area to heavy fire. I understand why. You know, he was disrupted, there was a bomb, whatever, behind him, but the thing is, if he was to dodge over here, and he did, he didn't want to stay here for too long. Not that it should matter, because look at this, points is just, this is nuts. This is really, really good for them. Now that he's dead, though, it's going to be a little bit harder for his team. Comes in, unfortunately just dies immediately to Kraka. He had stealth jump and everything, it just didn't matter. He just jumped in to die. Well, that's cool. Now we're reset back in neutral. He's coming in here. He's got his... first of all, he got marked before... the day. Like, here, he was already marked. Like, okay, right here, he died, right? As soon as he spawns, as soon as he respawns, as soon as the people start to come back, everyone gets marked. Right here. Right here, you see that? There's the marker. He gets himself marked. Because this happens because he's jumping to someone. You allow yourself to get marked. If you don't jump to someone, you don't get marked. It delays, if you delay it just a little bit. Sometimes it's a good idea. I know this is kind of weird, but like, this is something I just thought of now. I'm not gonna lie. If you just wait a minute, if you are stealth jump, if you wait just a second, like especially in this location when you're not actually achieving anything with your stealth jump, and you know the enemy team has echo, just like wait in the spawn for just a few seconds, because most people, when they use the echo location, they do it immediately upon everyone's respawn, which is what happened here, and then everyone got marked, right? But if he just waited a second, he would have been marked. It's just a side thing, a little extra. Here he jumps down, he sees the squid here, so he should start to cut him off. Alright, so he starts to do just that. And bodied. Get freaking bodied, dude. Alright, let's look at that again. So, here, he comes in, he has full everything. First thing, I'd be throwing a bomb. Why a bomb? One, you will have ink to move around and kill people, right? Two, it forces actions on the other inkling. So if he threw a bomb here, per se, he could then watch the movement, like even without moving, he could just watch the movement of how this person goes, and then just shoot where they have to go. So if he threw a bomb here, for instance, she would not be able to do this. She wouldn't be able to jump back here and make his angle kind of weird. Like if he threw a bomb here on this ramp, she would have to do two things. Either one, go up here, right, take damage and be in a really bad spot where he can kill her really easy, or jump back this way, which he has a distinct advantage because he's already on the ground, and she would have to jump into the air to avoid the bomb because this entire area is painted. So because he didn't do that, it made this interaction really bad, in my opinion. And on top of that, he might have gotten another extra kill here based on how grouped they are, since they're coming back from being spawn camped. So there's that. And these are all nitpicky things, but it's like, the better you get, the more value you get out of those like tiny things. It's pretty nuts or whatever, but that's the way it is. That's another thing. He jumped again. Like that's just. That's why you gotta delay it. Like right here, he should not be jumping. He should not be doing anything. He should just be shooting ahead. Swim forward, shoot ahead. Because this guy has, if he shoots ahead, he's gonna kill the paint options for him, and he'll die. Okay, cool. Here, again, he's got a ton of ink. You see here, he can throw a bomb, stop his movement, force his movement, force his hand. See how he moves. If he goes back here, he loses. If he goes over here, that's his best bet, but that's probably into one of his teammates. Yeah, see? There's a teammate there with the disruptor. That's Hitzel probably. So, here, if he threw a bomb here, that would be his best decision. And then here, he got disrupted, and he still died to him. Very unfortunate for Purpz there. But, see, that's where, like, knowledge of what your team is, your composition is, and who's there to help you. Because if he knew that Hitzel was there with a disruptor, he would know that he doesn't actually have to really engage him, because Hitzel, with the 2v1 here, could have made it really easy. Just by painting over, he could force Chris to either have to paint the ground or try to shoot him. And if he tries to shoot him and he feels like he's in danger, he can just back up. Because keep in mind, because of this, look at how much ink is on the ground. He has all that to fall back on. He can use the tower. He could be using the tower right now as a wall. He could be peeking. The right side peek works for not just chargers, by the way. It works for guns, too. So he could be using that wall, like, especially now. Like, I would be ducking back to use that wall. Now, of course, he tricked him here and juked this way, but he should automatically be adjusting his aim in this direction to adjust for that. And then he jumps, which in my opinion was just bad. That jump doesn't help you here. I mean, yeah, you're kind of close, whatever, but it's like you're putting it a lot on RNG instead of skill, which is where you're gonna get a lot of frustration. For me, that would have pissed me off. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, that would have just annoyed the hell out of me. And it happens to me a lot with 52 gal, so that's why I'm explaining this thing, because I understand how that can feel when you know you got a kill and then you miss it because of something like that. Anyway, so that was good on Chris, because he was able to get past that anyway. In fact, he's dealing with Hitzel right now. I think Hitzel died. Yeah, Hitzel died there, unfortunately. But if Purpz had made the right decision, maybe he might not have, and that would have put them in a really strong position. They wouldn't even have to be defending like this right now. Of course, it's looking like it might not even matter. Again, based on their like initial push, because they got a really strong lead. See here, he's forced to hang there. There's nothing he can do with this bomb here. He tries to go over here, he blows up, and DJ can just pop at him for free, and he's dead. He's dead. So that was really good. That ramp is always a good decision on this map. Always. Like, almost always. Like, I say always because, like, 70% of the time. There's probably, like, a 30% or something like that. Okay, he's waiting. He's chilling. Alright, good. That was hot. That was spicy. I'm surprised no one notices him. Like, if it were me, people would have been, like, locking me down. And this is just bullying. That's just straight up bullying. I respect it, though, because the more you delay them over here, it's going to be harder for them to actually get to pushing, and they had a strong push in the beginning. But as you guys can see, that took me, 30 minutes for just one game. 1 5-minute game. Not even. Like, it's like 3 minutes long. It took me that long to explain that. Like, I'm sorry, it's like, it's about 5, it's 5 minutes. Anyway, a 5-minute game. Took me like 30 minutes to explain various details in there. So you can kind of see where, like, you can fix just one instance, one little tiny area. You could choose to learn, like, okay, well, my weapon's really strong when I go down the center. I'm going to start throwing my bomb now. And instead of just going immediately after my bomb is thrown, I'll just wait a second and see how the enemy responds, and then I'll respond to that. You know, different things like that. It's pretty crazy, and all that, but there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been informative in some kind of way. I hope it's helped you in some kind of way, and next time I'll make a video talk about different archetypes of players, offensive and defensive. I wanted to talk about that because that's something that I think we all fall under a category for, and I wanted to explain that a little bit because I think it's kind of interesting. Anyway, see you guys next time. Peace.